Good morning, everyone. Wonderful to see you. And as we move into the third spoke of the Noble Eightfold Path, right speech, how could we not begin with Emily Dickinson? Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children, eased with explanation kind. The truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. Believe it or not, I have tons to say about this poem, and I'm going to try to keep it within my time restriction. But let's just sit back and feel this moment. Turning your hands up, if it's comfortable, if you're able to, and just resting them on your lap, which is a kind of mudra. It's a signal of the hands saying, I'm open, I'm receptive. Here I am. And then straightening the back just within what's comfortable, just becoming aware of that act of straightening. The Noble Eightfold Path, as I've been studying it, really is all about that. It's just becoming aware of that act of straightening. It's not turning into a saint suddenly, but just saying, oh, okay, tugging the puppy back onto the road and then lengthening the neck. And now you've opened up this circuit between the heart and the head so that the heart and the head become one organ called chitta. And the breath just oscillates between them. Breathing in to the count of 4 and pausing at the top. And breathing out to the count of 5. You might say, surrendering to the absolute as you breathe in, I know this world is an illusory world. Its joys are illusory, and its pain and its suffering that follows are illusory. I know it. And then breathing out, but I choose this world to help relieve the suffering of others. I'm going to participate in this joy, and I'll participate in this sorrow. Joseph Campbell used to say, joyful participation in the sorrows of the world and sorrowful participation in the joys of the world. That's the circuit. Now that you feel that oscillation of breath from the heart to the head and from the head to the heart, try to soften everything. Soften the muscles around the eyes. Soften the muscles of the face. Unclench the jaw. And then remind yourself, pull the puppy back from the bushes. Just straighten the back ever so slightly and lengthen the neck. And then if you can, just point the chin a little bit upward. And then feeling your shoulders just drop. As though there's a bar made of spirit and everything is just hanging like a blanket over that bar. And then let them drop again. Breathing in. I know this is an illusory world. This is a dream the world is having in which all the dreamers are dreaming too. Breathing out. I choose this world to help relieve the suffering of others, however I can. As you breathe out, just sort of imagine the drawbridge of the heart opening. As your breath comes down, just opening the drawbridge. And as an experiment, letting go of all the defensive protections around your heart and all the advice you've been given about protecting that space, just as an experiment to send the guards home for the next half an hour. Feeling the safety of this space, feeling the relief of letting that drawbridge down at last. Softening the belly and just accepting what's here, whatever you're feeling in your body today or whatever you woke up with, good day or bad day, whatever is yet to come today in the list of things to do, just as an experiment to set that aside. Breathing in, I know this world is an illusion. It's not what it appears to be. Breathing out, I accept the rules of this game and I'm going to play it in the noblest way possible. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. This poem was written in 1872, scholars of Dickinson say. Who knows? It was published even later than that. But the agreed upon number is 1872. And that's interesting to me because it was not written during the miracle years of 1861 to 1865, corresponding exactly with the Civil War. Those poems written within the miracle years are the live trauma poems, a time when the news was coming in. And tonight I write my poem about what I've experienced today, the death all around me, the intensity of those poems, and the difficulty, the slantedness of those poems of the miracle years is significant in how we read this poem because there was a lot of truth coming in every day. And so there was a layeredness and a difficulty in mounting all of that material into the small spaces of her poems. So they're very slanted in the way they tell the truth. This is not. Ironically, this is a poem about telling it slant, and yet it's one of the most straightforward and easily captured poems of Emily Dickinson's entire writing career. But these are the PTSD years. These are the years after. And I think that the key word here is infirm, our infirm delight. These are the hospital years. This is not the battlefield time, but this is the hospital time after the battlefield. And so this poem is very straightforward and clear, and it can mean in three ways. On the one hand, I think the obvious reading is the relative reading, in other words, how we live in the world. And it's related directly to the third instruction of right speech. If you're going to speak to someone, don't be harsh, don't be brutally honest. But I think what is important in this poem is that she instructs us to tell all the truth, not some of it, not to leave some truth out for the children who can't handle it, but to find a way to tell all of it in this circuitous manner. And as a teacher of creative writing, that advice goes deep for me because I want to tell all the truth all the time. And I have to find even metaphorical ways of communicating that to students, as though the whole workshop, these next 4 months, are one encounter. And in these next 4 months, I'm going to try to tell you all the truth. But what truth am I telling you? Am I telling you you're a bad writer? Am I telling you that you're not great at creating metaphors or your language is weak or you're a terrible speller? I mean, all those things may be in effect true, but there's another kind of truth that I'm interested in. I've realized over the years it's a kind of substance teaching versus image teaching, as Thich Nhat Hanh talks about it. Image teaching is the information, like you need to work on this and this and this technically. That's important. But the deeper teaching is the substance teaching, which says you are worthy to write these words down. Find your worth and you will find your voice. So the truth that I'm trying to tell as slantedly as possible is know your worth. And so every time I come into workshop in one way or another, I'm thinking about how can I communicate that without sounding Pollyanna and overly optimistic and just casually enthusiastic about someone's poem, but to really find the enthusiasm every time. And of course, it's a challenge. But there's an aesthetic reading to this poem as well, and it involves a teaching about what poems themselves do. Poems use forms, poems use alliteration, poems use imagery, they tell stories, they incite a kind of mystery in our imagination. They find the memorable speech, as Robert Frost said. They do all these things in this circuitous way. I even draw a circle on the board when I talk about it. But they're doing those things to distract us so that when the powerful message comes through, it sticks. It's almost sneaking in through the window, like Icarus falling in the backdrop of a Bruegel painting. A tiny, tiny truth drowning out there in the water while the plowman stands in the front, taking up our attention. And that plowman is called rhyme, you know. But there's Icarus, the truth back there. And the truth is saying, you don't have to be good. And that thing just like an arrow sticks in our hearts. That's what poems do. They tell the truth, but they tell it slant. And I guess the third reading that I enjoy in this poem is the spiritual or the reading, the wisdom reading. If the relative reading has to do with compassion, the spiritual or the absolute reading has to do with wisdom. And the wisdom is that the world is telling all of this to me, slant. That there is a truth being communicated to me through this world of appearances. Everything around me is not what it seems. Newton said, objects move in this way and things bump up against each other and ricochet and bounce off of each other. But when you look at the subatomic truth, it's all just one field, completely connected. So whether you're coming at it from a faith perspective or a science perspective, it's all the same truth, which is that the things around us that look separate do not have separate identities. They are all part of one field. Yet when you just say that, there's no earning it. And the world is telling me this slanted truth of separateness so that I can feel that deeper truth more ecstatically. It's actually a gift. So you might ask yourself this week, thinking about this poem and the slantedness of truths told well. How do I read this poem that the world is? How do I closely read its distractions and enjoy every part of it so that that zinger can come and grab me in the heart, so that that Icarus falling in the distance can really have a deep and meaningful effect on my life? And I guess, side note, how do I write the poem of my life? How do I create all of those eccentric, idiosyncratic, beautiful distractions so that the real life that I'm meant to live can rise out of my center and surprise even me? How do I write the poem of my own life? Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. Getting back into that comfortable space, your hands up in that receptivity pose, straightening the back again. I find myself leaning into the camera with the crazy eyes, the crazy zoom eyes. So you have to just sort of let the back straighten, softening the shoulders, the belly. And as the breath rises, holding it for a moment and letting it release. And as it releases, feeling the drawbridge of the heart going down. just as an experiment for 10 more minutes. What is right speech? The instructions are really clear. Right speech is not lying, not being divisive in your speech, not being abusive in your speech, and not being frivolous in your speech, feeling the preciousness of your speech. Catching yourself, catching that puppy as it moves in the direction of exaggeration. I have to do it all the time, just tugging it back to the road. Lying and false speech, divisive speech, speech that's deliberately meant to emphasize the separations rather than the unities. Abusive speech or harsh speech, speech that's meant to hurt, cruel, or threaten. We all know official offices that deliver messages in this kind of speech every day, sometimes in the middle of the night. And we can take the negative road in our activism. And the negative road is to write in our own speech. So in the last minutes here, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And those questions are the 5 considerations for wholesome speech, which you might recognize. It's a popular teaching in Buddhism. The first question is it true? Before you speak, you might ask, is it true? Is it beneficial? This is the second question. Is it helpful? Third question, is it timely? Is this the right moment to speak that truth? You must tell all the truth, but you must dole it out slowly. The truth must dazzle gradually. The fourth question is it gentle? Is it kind? As lightning to the children eased, with explanation kind. Is it kind? And the fifth consideration before speaking, is it spoken with a mind of goodwill? Is this just gossip? Or is this spoken out of concern? We all find ourselves in committees where we have to discuss someone's progress. And it's so easy for that discussion to veer off the road into gossip. And you just have to, without judgment, pull the puppy back. I'll be writing these in my reflections. So if you haven't heard them before, I'll make sure you get them in the next few days. Is it true? Sitting with that for 3 breaths. Is it true? It's related to right view. The first spoke of the Eightfold Path. Is it so? Is that really the case? Is it beneficial? Is what I'm about to utter going to be helpful in any way? Or am I uttering it because I want people to know that I did my homework? Is it timely? Is this the moment? I mean, I know I have to talk about this, but is right here at dinner the moment with others around, or is there a more skillful way to communicate what must be said? The fourth question, is it gentle and kind? Okay, now is the moment. How can I pose this in a way that's comforting and pleasant? And in the spirit of goodwill, how can I communicate that? That seems to be related to the second spoke, right thought, which tries to align one's thinking with the wholesome path. What am I actually doing right now is the question of right thought. Is it gentle? Is it kind? Is it spoken with goodwill? And the fifth is it free from malice? Is it free from any desire to hurt? By what circuit is the truth being told right now, right here? By what slanted approach is the truth arriving in the periphery? Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children eased with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind.